Right now at 5, Missouri's governor moves to crack down on unregulated marijuana products.
And take a look. No alert day graphic. It's still going to be hot, but humidity levels are considerably lower today. Well, look at that forecast. Get you out the door coming up.
Plus, we'll hear advice from experts on how to protect the elderly from the dangerous heat.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It's Friday. Yes. All right.
Fall over.
I might fall over with excitement because not only is it Friday, temperatures have come down a bit.
They have,
Just a wee bit.
Always nice.
Humidity levels are going to drop.
Okay.
It's only a couple of days of break, but you know what? After the last few days, this has been like the longest week due to that heat. I'm telling you.
It really has. It really has.
The heat makes you tired. It slows you down. And then, next thing you know, the 4 days we've been through feels more like 8 or 9 days. So
certainly. So
but it's going to be a little better.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Oh,
I'm excited.
Too. Let's, you know what? Let's dive right into it. Let's take a look. We can all be excited together here. This is a live look from Mark Hammer, downtown Joplin, Cornell Complex. Looking pretty good so far as this cold front sweeps through and starts to bring drier air into the area. And that's the thing, of course, there's a summertime cold front. It's not going to cause our temperatures to plummet, which honestly, that wouldn't be good for us. It wouldn't be good for the roads. It wouldn't be good for a lot of things because if the temperatures plummeted, that could cause structural damage to a number of items. So that's probably a good thing. 7th range line looking pretty good. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking good as well. Now let's take a look first at Skywatch Storm Tracker. Got a couple of stray showers into Delaware and Benton counties. And then we've got this batch of rain. This is what we were talking about yesterday that could have clipped parts of northeastern Oklahoma. However, at this point, it looks as though the bulk of this activity is really going to miss our area. So we're going to remain dry from this, unfortunately, because we do need some rain out there. But the temperature's better. So remember, our peak daytime heating is always in the late afternoon, early evening. So by noon, we're talking a little less than 90 degrees out there. By 4, we're still low up to mid-90s as we end the afternoon. Our temperatures, they're still technically a little above average, but they're much lower than where they have been. They're going to be considerably better. Quick look at temperatures now. 70 in Joplin, 72 in Pittsburgh. And you can clearly see where that cold front is and where it hasn't been. Still near 80, Jay in Bentonville. And you get back behind it, and we've got low to mid-70s. So again, a very refreshing start to the day. Our highs, low mid-90s, so it's still hot, but with the dew point humidity levels lower, it's going to be a slightly more manageable heat. You still want to take precautions, don't overdo it, but it'll be a little bit refreshing out there today. We're going to tell you how long this break lasts and when more dangerous heat could be on the way here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, a close call for a teenage girl crossing State Route YY in Carl Junction yesterday. A semi-truck, the 14-year-old girl, and she was thrown into the ditch. The driver stopped. The girl was transported to non-emergency to an area hospital. She was awake and alert. The newest Missouri executive order prohibits the sale of unregulated cannabis products. Missouri Governor Mike Parson announced the order, which bans the sale of foods containing psychoactive cannabis compounds unless the establishment is an FDA-approved source, such as a licensed dispensary. Parson wants to decrease minors' access to cannabis products by banning the products from retail establishments with only a liquor license. For more information, go to our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, Fairview Christian Church in Carthage is trying to make sure families have food ahead of the school year. They've opened their food pantry for anyone in need. It'll be open once a week, every Thursday from 3 to 4:30 p.m. The church plans to open weekly throughout at least November 14th.
We like to have every week at least 4 of these 5 areas. We always want to have protein. We like to have some bread item, vegetables, fruit, And it's nice if we have something sweet.
Fairview Church is at 2320 South Grand Avenue in Carthage. Vulnerable populations like the elderly can be more susceptible to heat-related illnesses. Experts say it's important to take precautions like staying hydrated. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
Temperatures over 100, it's just hard to keep cool.
Floyd Gwaltnett frequents the Joplin Senior Center weekly for bingo and socialization. He says it's been too hot to spend extended periods of time outside.
I go walk to the mail and get it, and then come back.
He prefers to spend his time inside at the Senior Center as opposed to outdoors in the heat. He even plans his daily walks around avoiding the hottest parts of the day.
Early in the morning, I'll walk around my apartment complex, and then late at night.
Adrienne Weston is the Public Education and Information Specialist at Area Agency on Aging in Joplin. And she says health issues can make seniors more susceptible to the heat.
People that have blood pressure problems may be on medication that can affect the levels of hydration in your body. So you really want to listen to your body and make sure that you're keeping your hydration balanced.
Weston says the agency helps out by providing free fans to seniors who need it. One of her concerns are retired people who may avoid turning on their air conditioners to avoid a high electricity bill.
A lot of people that do live on fixed income, they have very, very limited resources to begin with. And so whenever it comes time to run the air conditioner and have to keep it on pretty much 24/7 when it's hot like this, they are very reluctant.
Weston also encourages people to check in on their elderly loved ones to make sure they're staying safe when the temperatures are dangerously high. Reporting in Joplin, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Weston says some chronic illnesses can affect the body's ability to regulate body temperature. She recommends making sure that your elderly loved ones have access to an air conditioner or fan to stay cool. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. The Joplin Outlaws try to bounce back from a rough loss. We have the details. Plus, two major controversies are grabbing headlines this week as the Paris Summer Olympics continue. And we have a hot and sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
A recent grad of Parsons High School and standout on the pitcher's mound announces this week he'll be continuing his baseball career at the collegiate level, and he won't have to travel too far from home in order to do so. Landon Rowland, who just graduated from Parsons this spring, announces on Twitter this week that he is committing to NEO and will join the Golden Norseman baseball program next season. Rowland was an unanimous first-team All-SEK League selection in his senior campaign for the Vikings. He posted a 2.25 ERA and racked up 67 strikeouts, which was the best mark in the conference in that category. On its home field last night, the Outlaws open up a 3-game series against the Sherman Shadowcats. Bottom of the first, Drake Lee hits a sharp grounder and Sherman turns it into a routine double play, but Cale Good scores on the play and the Outlaws lead 1-0. Fourth inning, tied game, bases loaded for Sherman as Xavier Fosbener leaps and makes a great catch in the left field and holds all the runners on base. Next batter, it's a wild pitch, but Sean Kang finds the ball and Brett Sarwinski covers home plate, tags out the runner to keep it a tied 1-1 ball game. Sarwinski pitched 4 innings, only giving up 1 earned run up to that point in the game. Bottom of the fourth, Evan Venig singles through the left side, and the Outlaws retake the lead. Joplin goes up 2-1. Sherman runs away with it in the later innings, though. Second straight blowout loss for the Outlaws. Final score 14-4. Over to Major League Baseball, the Royals are fresh off a series sweep over the White Sox on the road in Chicago. Last night, the Cardinals were in the Windy City, but on the north side at Wrigley Field taking on the Cubs. This series could be a good opportunity for the Cardinals to extinguish any hopes of a Cubs playoff run as they enter the day in last place in the NL Central. Redbirds held a 4-2 lead in the ninth, but Ryan Helsley blows the save, and the Cubs score 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth, then win it with a walk-off double. Final score 5-4. Royals on the road within their division as well, taking on the Tigers at Comerica Park. KC is in control of the third AL wildcard spot entering the day, and they get their fourth consecutive victory last night. Vinny Pasquantino hits 2 home runs in a winning effort, and Seth Lugo picks up his 13th win. Final score 7-1. Over at the 2024 Olympics in Paris, it's an historic day for several American athletes. We're going to start with women's gymnastics. No surprise here, Simone Biles wins the all-around gold. Then Team USA in men's 4 rowing wins gold, which is the first time they've done so in 64 years. 1960 was the last time the Americans took gold in that event. Over to the pool, 17-year-old Summer McIntosh wins her second gold medal of the Olympics. She already won the 400 individual medley yesterday. She takes first in the finals of the 200-meter butterfly, and Reagan Smith gets the silver. Lee Kiefer becomes the most decorated U.S. foil fencer with her third Olympic gold. And back to swimming, Katie Ledecky becomes the most decorated U.S. female Olympian of all time with her 23rd career medal. Still to come, we're going to see why regular aspirin may lower the risk of developing colon cancer, and we're going to talk about this brief break from the heat and when the bad heat does return when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News 516 now on this finally Friday here in the 4 states, and Friday is bringing some relief. Now, unfortunately, on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, we really don't have any kind of rain in our area. It's all down to our southwest across north central and eastern Oklahoma, and that's unfortunately as well where it's expected to stay. We are getting some cloud cover off of this activity across parts of the region, but that's really about it. Now, it could still trigger a stray shower or storm just to its northeast, into, say, northeastern Oklahoma, maybe parts of southeast Kansas. But all in all, we're expected to remain dry through the morning. Heading through the afternoon, in fact, the future track the next couple of days is simply hot and dry, but we do have the northerly breeze, which will be nice. It's bringing in drier air. So we're talking, if we get heat index values today, they're only going to be 2 or 3 degrees above what the air temperature is, so considerably less humid across the area. And temperatures tonight falling back below normal for most of us into the upper 60s. We go into our Saturday, it's a similar situation. We'll go low mid-90s. Some of us out west already starting that warming trend, but humidity levels on Saturday still expected to be somewhat lower than where they have been, but they're going to be on a gradual increase. And as we head into our Sunday, it's going to be another sunny day. It's going to be another hot day. Temperatures, as you can see, back into the mid to upper 90s for our highs. So this is only a brief pause in that heat that we've experienced here lately. 70 in Joplin, dew points at 66. The wind is calm, and around the area, again, you can very clearly see where that cold front is. So still near 80 J in Bentonville. The majority of us, though, low mid 70s across the region. So again, a very refreshing start to the day. Still a little humid right now because we're still pretty close to that rain across Oklahoma. But as that continues to exit the area, it's going to feel a little bit better today. Partly cloudy skies through the first part of our day, about the low to mid 80s by 11 o'clock this morning. We're going for highs in the low to mid 90s, so still a little above normal, but again, the heat index values will be considerably lower. And these temperatures too, lower than where they have been. We've been pushing upper 90s and lower 100s. So again, it's still hot, but it's a bit of a break across the area for us today. Heading into the evening, skies will begin to gradually clear out for us, and we'll fall back again a little below normal, upper 60s, and we might have a stray cloud or two as we go overnight tonight. Now, unfortunately, over the next 10 days, it's going to start to heat back up. By the time we get to Sunday, again, mid-upper 90s. We're approaching 100 by Monday. We're back into the lower 100s by Tuesday, but we start to see a few more pop-up storm chances Thursday through Sunday. Unfortunately, as you can tell, though, they're not going to do much for our temperatures, still remaining dangerously hot. So enjoy today and part of tomorrow as much as you can. Let's check your forecast. We're back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. Regular aspirin use may keep the oncologist away, at least when it comes to colorectal cancer. That's according to a new study published Thursday in the journal JAMA Oncology. The authors found that those who took aspirin on a regular basis had an 18% lower risk at developing colorectal cancer than non-users. Colorectal cancer is the second most common cause of cancer death worldwide. More than 153,000 people in the U.S. were diagnosed with the condition in 2023. The causes of colorectal cancer can be genetic, but certain lifestyle factors also seem to increase the risk. Those include an unhealthy diet, not getting enough exercise, drinking alcohol, smoking, and having a high body mass index. Well, a new study found you could cut your risk of dementia by making one dietary change. People who replaced an ounce of processed red meat a day with a daily serving of nuts and legumes dropped their risk of dementia by 20%. Those who ate an ounce of processed red meat a day raised their risk by 14%. Each additional daily serving added about an extra 1.6 years of cognitive aging, according to the observational study. Researchers warn these results only show an association and do not necessarily prove cause and effect. Processed red meats, including bacon, sausage, hot dogs, and deli meats, contain high levels of sodium, nitrates, and saturated fats. Eating high amounts has already been linked to cancer, type 2 diabetes, and heart disease. As Earth experiences what may be the hottest year on record, experts are warning that social media influencers are spreading false and dangerous messages about the sun and sunscreen, including messages that try to undermine the safety and efficiency of sunscreen, as well as myths about ways to protect yourself. Micah Yoshida explains what medical experts want you to know.
The sun does not cause skin cancer. With a good tan, you don't need sunscreen. These are some of the false and potentially dangerous messages you may come across on social media.
It's leading to a spread in a lot of misinformation on how to care for your skin and how to protect your skin, especially when it comes to skin cancer.
Extensive research has shown UV radiation can harm skin cells and play a significant role in causing cancer like melanoma. Still, experts say misinformation on sun protection is not only spreading, but being believed.
Messages are being delivered very fast in a brief amount of time, and there's no room for nuance.
A recent survey by the Orlando Health Cancer Institute recently found about 1 in 7 adults under age 35 thought daily sunscreen use is more harmful to the skin than direct sun exposure. And about a quarter believed drinking water and staying hydrated prevented a sunburn.
There's so much misinformation and they're talking about ineffective treatments. I think that, drinking water is going to protect your skin. You're absolutely wrong. Find a sunscreen that is comfortable and that you're going to wear. That is the best sunscreen. If you're not going to wear it, then it's not going to be worth your time.
Doctors also say sun damage earlier in life can lead to trouble years later.
For those of us who treat patients with skin cancer, we have seen a troubling uptick in incidence, especially melanoma in younger folks.
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got a little bit of a break from some of that heat and humidity. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, high temperatures greet large crowds at this year's Marion Days celebration.
And we're going to get a little break from the heat today. Still hot outside, but humidity levels lower. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, some local healthcare providers celebrate National Healthcare Center Week with a free lunch.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:28. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's a finally Friday here in the 4 states, and we are now into the second day of August, and it's going to give us a little respite from the heat.
Looking forward to it.
That's a little respite, though. It's still going to be kind of hot outside, but a little better than where we have been, which we need it.
We really do. It's been exhausting, like you mentioned earlier. It just feels like the week has gone on for forever.
Yeah, the heat makes you tired. It makes you slower, and boy, it's just been a rough week.
Yeah.
Been a rough week for sure. So we'll get a little bit of a break today. Let's take a look outside with our camera. 7th and Range Line in Joplin. We're looking pretty good out there. Got mostly clear skies in Joplin. And as we take a look at the MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line also looking pretty good this morning as well. Skywatch Storm Tracker is relatively clear in our area. A lot of this is just ground clutter and virga, things that aren't really on the radar. The only thing really on the radar is this batch of showers and a few thunderstorms across parts of Oklahoma. Melanoma. This is the activity we showed you on Future Track that could have clipped parts of our area in northeastern Oklahoma, but unfortunately, it looks as though it is going to stay confined down to our southwest. It did try and set off a couple of showers, Delaware, Benton County earlier, but those have since passed on. We're taking a look at the Future Track today. We're looking at skies gradually clearing as we head into the afternoon. We'll have a north breeze, so that's going to end up bringing in drier air for us. It's still hot outside, but with the drier air, our heat index values, if we see them, are only going to be 2 or 3 degrees warmer than the air temperature out there. And already a fairly decent start to the day. 70 in Joplin, sitting at 73 in Pittsburgh. You can see where that cold front is, so we're still somewhat close to it, so still a little bit muggy across the area this morning, but that will continue to move to the south, and that'll bring in that drier air behind it. The majority of us low 70s, and as you see where the front hasn't come through, are still low 80s in Newada and Jay this morning. As we head into the afternoon, again, skies gradually clearing, partly cloudy, still hot, less humid though. We're going to go low mid 90s out there, and our skies should be clearing out by later this evening. We're going to get one more day of somewhat better conditions, and then things start to heat back up again. We'll go over the details in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
See you soon. Well, it could be a record turnout. It's too soon to estimate just how many people are gathered in Carthage for Marian Days. The Carthage Chamber expects the city to grow by 100,000 over the weekend. The 4-day Vietnamese Catholic Festival kicked off yesterday, drawing visitors from around the nation and even from overseas. Area hotels, motels, and restaurants could be packed for the next few days, and thousands of participants are staying in tents despite the heat. The festival included a mass and procession last night. The event's celebrations and lots of food continue through Sunday. A health provider in Southwest Missouri celebrates National Health Center Week with a free lunch. Access Family Care and the McDonald County Health Department teamed up to host the lunch yesterday. The event also provided a way for families to come in and get their kiddos vaccinated before going back to school, courtesy of the health department. Access says events like this provide a great way to serve the community.
We want the communities to know that community health centers are here. There's not a lot of options for healthcare in McDonald County, and we provide medical, dental, and behavioral health services. Our mission is to serve anyone in need. Our primary focus is on those who are underserved, so people who don't have insurance, that are on Medicaid, lower income. That's our primary focus, but we will see anybody.
The event also provided information on healthcare wellness and prevention, diabetes, cancer, and more. You can also head over to KOAMnewsnow.com/education for more vaccine information. The Joplin Public Library and Post Art Library have begun accepting applications to fill booths for the 2024 Joplin Writers Fair. The application process is free and open to all writers and writers groups, including published and non-published. Successful applicants will be notified via email by September 13th. The fair is scheduled for Saturday, October 12th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. inside the library. You can head over to KOAMnewsnow.com for more information. The Butterfly Garden at Crawford State Park is getting a facelift. Wednesday, 6 loads of gravel were added to the walkways around the flower beds. The Friends of Crawford State Park is the group making the effort to improve the grounds. A fun fact, the garden itself is in the shape of a butterfly. Crawford State Park will also be putting on a kids catfish clinic this weekend. The clinic is backed by popular demand and will allow kids of all ages to participate. Rods, reels, and all equipment needed for a successful day of fishing will be provided free of charge. Students heading to school later this month in Mountain Home, Arkansas will be greeted with new phone lockers. Hayden Savage explains how the district plans to use the lockers to keep students' attention while in the classroom.
They were used to having technology 24/7, and so we started looking at ways to kind of dial that back.
In today's modern age, nearly, if not all, junior high and high school kids have a cell phone. In the education scene, those devices have caused more headache than help in the classroom.
They're constantly checking their texts, Snapchats, the social media that comes through.
While cell phones have been a problem since students began carrying them, the district saw an increase in phone use after 2020.
Really, since we we came back in 2021, that our students were distracted. They were used to having technology 24/7.
That's what made the district adopt a new phone policy regarding phone use in the classroom. It went into effect before the 2023-24 school year.
They would take their cell phone and put it in a designated area so that was not a distraction on their tables or in their backpacks.
Students are still allowed to be on their phone during passing periods, so between classes and at lunch.
This year, the school is installing a new device for students to stay off their phones during class.
Every classroom will have these, and students will have an opportunity to put their phones in the boxes so that they can focus on their work during class.
The school said it saw success with the phone policy last year and is only hoping that carries into this next school year.
So far, we've seen a positive impact on students and student achievement.
Students in Mountain Home, Arkansas will return to the classroom on August 19th. Now to look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The Bank of England cut its key interest rate for the first time since 2020. Plus, 3 Americans who were held prisoner in Russia are now back home and were greeted by the president. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch. 2 major controversies are grabbing headlines this week as the Paris Summer Olympics continue. Greg Palcott has more from London.
Another busy day at the Paris Summer Games with a pair of controversies threatening to overshadow the competitions. On Thursday, an Algerian boxer deemed a biological male faced off against an Italian opponent. She was hit so hard she stopped the fight due to safety concerns, crying out, quote, "I couldn't take it anymore." The International Olympic Committee defending the Algerian boxer's inclusion in the Games despite failing a gender test by the International Boxing Association.
We're talking about real people's lives here. They have competed and they continue to compete in the women's competition. They have lost and they have won against other women.
But athletes and former champions are raising concerns about unfair advantages biological males have over women in sports, saying the Olympics is too high stakes to be used as a social experiment.
I can understand her devastation, but it shouldn't be ruined due to a man. And I think that the Olympics definitely dropped the ball.
Meanwhile, the IOC appears to be passing the ball when it comes to punishing the Canadian women's soccer team after it was caught using drones to spy on opponents. The Olympic Committee says it's up to FIFA, soccer's international governing body, to decide the team's fate.
The players themselves have not been involved in any unethical behavior. And frankly, we ask FIFA to take that into consideration.
FIFA has already banned the Canadian women's coach and deducted points from the team, but more sanctions could be coming soon.
The Bank of England cut its key interest rate yesterday. Rates there have been elevated for 4 years. The UK central bank lowered its benchmark lending rate by a 1/4 percentage point to 5%. UK inflation has come back down to the Bank of England's 2% target. Policymakers remain wary of elevated services inflation. One-off factor like a rise in hotel prices driven by a Taylor Swift concert were partially responsible, according to economists. Well, 3 Americans who were held prisoner in Russia are now back home. They were greeted overnight by President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris at a military base just outside of Washington, D.C. In all, 24 people were released yesterday in one of the largest prisoner swaps since the end of the Cold War. Leah Mishkin has more from London.
A historic and emotional homecoming. 3 Americans, Marine veteran Paul Whelan, Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, and radio journalist Alsu Kormasheva, all reunited with their families on U.S. soil following their release from Russian custody. The president and vice president were there to greet them.
Did you think that this moment would come, sir?
Yes. 16 prisoners were released from Russia in the deal, including U.S. permanent resident and Pulitzer Prize-winning writer Vladimir Kara-Murza, an outspoken Kremlin critic who was serving 25 years on charges of treason. 8 prisoners were returned to Russia. Among them was convicted murderer Vadim Krasikov, who was serving a life sentence in Germany. Russian nationals were also released from the U.S., Slovenia, Poland, and Norway.
I asked them to do some things that were against their immediate self-interest, and really very difficult for them to do. particularly Germany and Slovenia.
This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy.
Earlier yesterday, the families of the released prisoners were at the White House.
It is unbelievable because we didn't expect this to happen.
The Biden administration is facing some criticism that the exchange could embolden Russian President Vladimir Putin to arrest more Americans.
I don't buy this idea that you're gonna let these people rot in jail because other people may be captured.
The 3 freed Americans will now undergo medical treatment in San Antonio as they adjust to life back home. Leah Mishkin, CBS News.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:44 on this finally Friday. Skywatch Storm Tracker. Again, we're just keeping an eye. There might be a couple of showers that try and develop outside of this batch, but right now the main complex of showers and storms is staying off to our south and west from Bristow, Stillwater, Enid, just south of Waukeeta. That's really about it, unfortunately. Now, it did try and trigger, this is why we're just keeping an eye. It triggered a couple of showers, Delaware, Benton County earlier this morning. They were short-lived, but still, as we get the cloud cover kind of expanding northeasterly, we'll just keep an eye for any additional storms. No severe weather expected, but hey, anywhere we can get a couple of showers this morning would be fantastic. Unfortunately, though, again, we're looking to remain dry. Here's the good news, though. You see these wind arrows? Those are out of the north. They're bringing in drier air. So it's still going to be hot today. I don't want you to think it's not, but it's going to be a little bit more manageable. By this afternoon and this evening, when we start to hit our peak heating, we still have some folks upper 80s, low to mid 90s for most of us, and our heat index values are only going to be 2 or 3 degrees above what the air temperature is because this north wind and this cold front bring in much drier air. It's not bringing in significantly cooler air, but it will bring in that drier air, which will certainly help. It'll make it feel a little better outside, a little more bearable. You still want to make sure you're staying hydrated. 90s are still hot, but it's going to be a little better. As we head to Saturday, humidity dew point levels rise a wee bit, not significantly, and our temperatures will stay manageable too. Low to mid 90s, starting to see a few upper 90s a little further west. By the time we head into our Sunday, though, the party's over. We're going to start seeing the dangerous heat begin to return. By Sunday, it's hot, not super hot yet, but as you can see, we've got a lot of mid upper 90s across the region. Again, further west you go, the hotter it is, and by the time we start heading into the next work week, that's when that dangerous heat really kicks back in. We're at 70 in Joplin, still a bit muggy out there because we're still relatively close to showers and storms. We got that cloud cover. The cold front hasn't fully gotten out of our areas. We still have some moist air for some of us out there. Now, the further north you are, though, the drier your air already is. In that cold front, clear boundary here. We've still got near 80, 81 in Nowata as you're a little further south of the front, but you go further north, we got more low to mid 70s. And check out Monette now, checking in at 68 degrees. As we go through the morning, again, partly cloudy skies as those thunderstorms off to our southwest continue to move on out. We'll be about low to mid 80s by 11 o'clock this morning. Again, still hot today. I'm not crazy in the head. I know the 90s are hot. It's just that the humidity and dew point levels will be noticeably lower, so it won't feel as miserable. Skies also gradually clearing as we head into the afternoon and evening. Again, low to mid 90s for those highs. Tonight, though, a little below normal. We're going to go upper 60s, and we'll start to see maybe a couple of clouds here or there as we go into the overnight hours. Looking ahead, though, again, that dangerous heat starts to return. So again, low mid 90s Saturday, mid upper 90s on Sunday, near 100 by Monday, and then we go back into the lower 100s heading into next week. And as you can see, they stick around. That dangerous heat lasts all the way into next weekend with maybe a few pop-up storm chances. But remember, too, at the pop-up storm chances, that means humidity, dew point levels are going to be even higher. So we got to get back to taking those precautions out there. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more after this.
Well, Deadpool and Wolverine may be kings of the box office now, but they have competition heading to theaters in August. Rick Damagella has a preview.
Who's a porcupine? Let's go to the real world.
That's not how it works, Harold. You can't just...
Whoa.
Oh, that is how it works.
The beloved children's book Harold and the Purple Crayon kicks off August at the movies. Zachary Levi steps into the role of a grown-up Harold whose imagination and Violet Stylus leap off the written page and into the real world of movie theaters Friday.
Legend has it that there's this massive treasure hidden in some secret vault.
Making the jump from the video game screen to the big screen is Borderlands. The cel-shaded looter shooter gets an all-star live-action cast and raids the box office vault August 9th. The Xenomorphs are back in Alien Romulus. Directed by Evil Dead and Don't Breathe's Fede Alvarez, Alien Romulus bursts onto movie screens August 16th.
When someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead.
Bill Skarsgård and FKA Twigs star in the remake of The Crow. The new adaptation of James O'Barr's comic book series flies into theaters August 23rd.
The jury in the Rodney King trial, a stunning verdict. The 4 police officers were found not guilty.
A father seeking to protect his son and a high-stakes heist are set against the backdrop of the Los Angeles riots in the drama 1992, arriving in theaters August 30th. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Well, Rhode Island auto shop owner is turning heads and lifting spirits with a fun business sign. It started with bad dad jokes, but now residents are sending him their own comic material. Sam Reed reports.
Right off the road on busy Providence Street in West Warwick.
14,000 cars plus a day go by.
Signature automotive accessory owner Timothy Propal prepares for the day ahead before getting to work on installations. Every few days, he does something different.
I guess I'm known in West Warwick as a sign guy.
He uses letters for his marquee sign to make a masterpiece out front.
I believe that one little action of kindness can go so far.
6 years ago, Timothy had an idea.
We need happiness, we need laughter.
With so many people passing by in a rush, or the constant beeping of those frustrated, he offered an opportunity to make them smile.
I said, hey, let me put some dad jokes up there.
It was also shortly after he had just lost his son, 21-year-old Austin Propal.
I had some anger, and this was just a way of releasing it through a different avenue and making other people laugh, and it helped me.
Initially, he purchased the sign to promote sales, but that never made its mark.
I think my first sign was just, I love Christmas, and I think it was a countdown in summer of how many days till Christmas, and people used to like, yeah, stop that, stop that.
And from there, things continued. Whether it be a joke, a riddle, or a meaningful message, more than 50 of them have been put up proudly.
And I've done like, for the guys, Valentine, hey, week, you only have a week left, guys. So things like that, and people kind of get a kick out of it.
Kendra Miller is one of those people.
I think it's awesome that he does it. They're uplifting, they're fun, they make you think. And I've come home from work so hard laughing, I've been crying.
She drives by daily and says the signs are a sense of sincerity.
I think in a world right now where everything's kind of going crazy, I think we need that.
Timothy says words of affirmation are what have kept him going, because sometimes all we need is a sign to turn things around.
It is not a marketing ploy. I don't use it at that. I use it really just for joy, and it gives me so much more back, to be honest with you.
Propal says he stays away from political jokes and that people are now sending him funny ideas for the board. We'll be right back. Out with the old and in with the new. Target says it wants your old jeans in exchange for a discount on some new ones. Target announced its first ever denim take back event on Monday, and the event will take place August 4th to August 10th. The retailer says customers will be able to turn in their old jeans and receive 20% off a new denim purchase with Target Circle. Those interested can bring in up to 5 denim items in any condition and from any brand. Target says the goal of the new initiative is to make it more affordable for customers to update their denim wardrobes. We'll raise a glass for International Beer Day. August 2nd has been set aside as the occasion to celebrate those who craft, brew, and serve one of the world's favorite beverages. It's also meant to unite the world under the banner of beer through celebrating the beers of all nations on a single day. You can mark the day by trying a beer you've never had before, attending a tasting, ordering a flight, or doing a brewery tour.
Certainly a number of interesting days that we celebrate here in the world. That one, I can't say I'm celebrating. I don't really drink. I don't do well with alcohol, but for me, all beer tastes the same, and it's just nasty to me. Now, for those of you who like it, my hat is off to you. You know, go for it. Do not drink and drive, though, and do not use it as a way to stay hydrated in the heat because it will not work. It will only make things worse. You can enjoy it in the evening after a nice hard day's work. And today you might be able to get a little more work done. We are going to go partly cloudy through the morning, low to mid 80s by 11. Now, it's still going to be hot outside, but the key message here, humidity and dew point levels are going to be a bit lower. So our heat index values are only going to be maybe 2 or 3 degrees higher than the air temperature. So a lot better. Still hot, but not so muggy. Low to mid 90s for our highs today. Clouds decreasing through the afternoon and into the evening hours, down to about 78 by 10. Overnight lows a wee bit below normal as well, upper 60s out there. Still not too bad Saturday, a little more muggy, but temperatures low to mid 90s. Unfortunately, this 2-day break is it. It's going to start to get dangerously hot again next week. Temperatures back into the lower 100s with some rain chances toward the end of next week. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this.